Okay, so you want to like really get to know Kick by Mitch Johnson. Well, you came to the right place. This book, like, it really sucked me in. It's about this kid named Budi, and he lives in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Mm,
And he's like completely obsessed with football,
mm,
dreams of playing for Real Madrid someday. So, like, pretty standard stuff, right?
yeah,
But here's where things get really interesting.
yeah.
Budi works in a factory. And guess what they make?
Yeah, I don't know.
Football boots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the exact kind his hero might wear. Talk about a reality check.
It's pretty fascinating how Johnson sets that up right away. You have Booty's huge dreams, but then they're like bumping up against these really harsh realities of his life.
Right?
Really makes you think, how many kids are out there like working to make all the things that, we enjoy, all while they're dreaming of something totally different.
I know, right? And it's not like Johnson tries to soften the glow at all.
Right.
His description of Jakarta is so vivid you can almost like feel the heat and hear the city sounds.
Yeah.
And Budi's job in the factory, it sounds absolutely brutal. Plus, Budi has this health condition where even a tiny cut is a big deal.
Oh, wow.
It adds this whole other layer of tension to the story.
Yeah, it's almost like that health condition becomes a metaphor for Booty's entire life.
Oh, interesting.
Like, one wrong move, one stroke of bad luck, and things could just totally fall apart for him.
Yeah.
And, it's not just bad luck he's dealing with. There's this, like, constant sense of injustice, too. I mean, Booty's literally making the boots that his idol might wear, but he's stuck in this cycle of poverty.
Totally. And then there are all the other characters in Budi's life, and they really add to the complexity of the story.
Yeah.
You know, there's his best friend, Rochi, who's really smart, but also kind of cynical. I found their dynamic so interesting because, their friendship is tested in some pretty intense ways.
Yeah, what's interesting about Rochi is that he seems to understand the system a lot better than Booty does. Like,
Well,
he's seen how it works, and he knows the odds are stacked against them.
totally.
But he also deeply cares for Booty, and that leads to some very tough choices for Rochi.
Exactly. And then you have Budi's grandma,
Yeah.
and she's like this wise, steady presence in his life,
Yeah.
always telling stories and sharing her wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It made me wonder if Johnson is using her to represent something bigger, like the strength of Indonesian culture.
Oh, absolutely. The grandma is key to understanding Booty's resilience.
Yeah.
She's passing down like the traditions of values, a way of seeing the world that helps him cope with all these challenges that he faces.
Yeah, it's like she's giving him the tools to navigate a world that seems determined to like knock him down.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of forces working against Budi, there's the factory owner. He's nicknamed the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
What a character.
The dragon is such a brilliant creation. He's not just a mean boss. He represents like this whole system of exploitation.
Yeah.
He profits off the labor of kids like Booty, and he just does not care about the human cost.
Yeah, I was so struck by how Johnson portrays that power dynamic.
Right.
It's subtle, but it's always there, lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Kieran Wakefield, Budi's football hero.
Yeah.
He plays for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So,
Kieran represents like everything Booty wants, like fame and an escape from his daily grind,
Yeah.
a chance to achieve his dreams. But as the story goes on, you start to see the cracks in that image. Can Kieran really understand Booty's world?
right.
Can he even imagine it?
It's a great point. It makes you think about the whole idea of hero worship
Mm-hmm.
and whether it can ever like really live up to our expectations. Okay, so we've got this incredibly rich cast of characters all interacting in Budi's world, and then boom, everything changes with this unlucky kick.
Now, that's what I call a plot twist.
Yeah.
Such a seemingly small thing, a football crashing through the dragon's window,
Right.
sets off this whole chain of events with huge consequences.
Mm-hmm.
It really made me wonder if Johnson was trying to say something about how even like the smallest actions can have a ripple effect.
Right. And the dragon, being who he is, demands that Budi steal a brand new pair of boots from the factory to make up for the broken window.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, how is Budi supposed to get out of that situation?
It's like classic Johnson throwing Booty into this impossible moral dilemma.
Yeah.
Does he do the right thing and risk facing the dragon's wrath?
Right.
Or does he betray his own values to protect himself?
And the crazy thing is, Budi actually tries to steal the boots. But, well, let's just say things don't go as planned.
Oh, no. What happens?
Well, it's heartbreaking. This innocent girl gets wrongly accused and punished.
Oh,
It shows just how harsh and unforgiving that factory environment is.
Yeah.
It really highlights the stakes for everyone involved.
Right.
And then, oh man, this part blew my mind. We find out that Roji Budi's best friend is the one who actually stole the boots.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful twist, like this act of loyalty.
Wow.
But it also feels like a betrayal, you know.
It's so much more than just a plot twist, though. I think Johnson is using this situation to force us to think about, like, the true nature of friendship in a world where survival is always on the line.
Yeah.
What would we do for our friends if we were in Budi's shoes?
I know. It's like that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, you know.
Yeah.
Rochi's trying to help, but his actions just make everything more complicated for Budi.
Right.
And just when you think things can't get any worse,
Oh, no.
Budi's family gets dragged into the drama.
Yeah.
His uncle Aaron has escaped from prison.
Oh, geez.
And he suddenly becomes this huge threat, putting Budi's whole family in danger. The tension in this part of the book is insane.
And of course, the dragon sees an opportunity here to exploit the situation even further.
Yeah.
The pressure that he puts on Budi's grandma, betray her own son, or risk her other son's safety, it's just devastating.
It's such a cruel choice.
Yeah.
And it really shows how the dragon operates. You know, he preys on the vulnerable and he uses their weaknesses to maintain his power. And in the middle of all this chaos, Budi is forced to make a decision that no kid should ever have to make.
That's that.
He turns in his own uncle.
Oh, wow.
It's such a heartbreaking moment, but it also shows how much Budi has grown throughout the story.
Right.
He's forced to confront the complexities of loyalty and family and sacrifice in a way that, you know, most adults would struggle with. It's a moment that just stays with you long after you finish the book.
Yeah.
But even with all this darkness, there are these like glimmers of hope in Budi's life.
Yeah.
Like his prized possession. It's a signed poster of his football hero, Kieran Wakefield. It's like this symbol of his dreams.
That poster represents Budi's belief in something bigger than himself.
Right.
A world beyond the factory walls. But then the discovery that it's fake, it's just crushing.
I know.
It's like this symbolic shattering of his innocence.
That's such a gut punch. It forces him to confront the gap between his dreams and the harsh realities of his life.
And it makes you wonder if Johnson is trying to tell us something about the dangers of putting our faith in idols or distant dreams.
Right.
Maybe real hope has to come from somewhere closer to home.
Maybe. And that's what makes this book so powerful. It's not just a story about football or a kid trying to escape poverty. It's about, like, the human search for meaning and connection in a world that often feels meaningless and disconnected. And then there's this unexpected turn of events when Budi receives some money, enough to maybe even see a Real Madrid game, you know.
Wow.
His ultimate dream. But what does he do?
I don't know. What does he do?
He gives it all to Rochi.
Oh, wow.
After everything they've been through, after all the betrayal and hurt, Budi chooses to help his friend.
That's amazing.
It says so much about his character.
It really does.
It's like this incredible act of forgiveness and generosity. It almost makes you wonder if Budi understands something that most of us don't. That even in the darkest of times, human connection is what truly matters.
And it's not just about personal connection. There's also this sense of social responsibility, too.
Yeah.
Budi, who has so little himself, chooses to help someone else who's struggling.
Right.
It's a subtle but powerful message about recognizing our shared humanity.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
From Budi's dreams and the harsh realities of his life to the complexities of friendship and family and the crushing weight of impossible choices.
Right.
Kick is a roller coaster of emotions, that's for sure.
It is.
But what does it all mean? What are some of the big takeaways from this book?
Well, for me, it's about the way hope operates in the face of adversity. Budi never loses sight of his dreams, even when everything around him seems designed to crush them.
Yeah.
But his hope isn't naive.
Right.
It's rooted in his cultural heritage, the stories his grandma tells him, and his unwavering belief in the power of human connection.
That's such an insightful way to put it. Budi's hope isn't just a wish for a better future. It's a force that sustains him in the present. A way of finding meaning and purpose, even in the toughest of circumstances. And heck, also explores the complex dynamics of friendship and family.
Absolutely.
In a way that's both heartbreaking and hopeful.
Budi's relationship with Roshi is tested over and over again.
Right.
Their loyalty is constantly being stretched and challenged, but ultimately, It's their shared experiences, their willingness to sacrifice for each other that make their bond unbreakable.
And then there's the whole issue of global inequality,
Right.
which Johnson tackles head on.
Mm-hmm.
Budi's making these boots knowing they're going to end up on the feet of kids who live in a totally different world.
Right.
It's such a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world and the vast disparities that exist.
This is one of the things I admire most about Kick.
Yeah.
Johnson doesn't shy away from the hard truths.
Right.
He forces us to confront the human cost of our consumption habits. Budi's story puts a face on that global supply chain and makes us question our own role in a system that often exploits those who are most vulnerable.
It's such a powerful message.
It is.
And it's not just about feeling guilty or helpless.
Right.
It's about recognizing our own agency and making conscious choices that support fairness and dignity for everyone. And speaking of making choices, Budi is constantly faced with decisions that have huge consequences, not just for himself, but for everyone around him.
It's like Johnson is using Budi's journey to explore this whole concept of coming of age.
Right.
Budi's forced to grow up fast
Yeah.
to make decisions that would test even the most seasoned adult.
Yeah.
And he doesn't always get it right. He makes mistakes. He hurts people.
Yeah.
But he keeps learning and evolving.
Yeah. It's a really authentic portrayal of what it means to become an adult in a world that's full of complexities and contradictions.
Yeah.
So Kick tackles some pretty heavy themes. Hope, friendship, family, global inequality, the weight of difficult choices. It's a lot to pack into one story, but Johnson does it masterfully.
And he does it in a way that's both engaging and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
He uses Budi's love of football as this, universal language that allows readers from all walks of life to connect with his story on a personal level.
It's a book that will stay with you long after you finish it. It's a story that will make you think, feel, and maybe even question your own assumptions about the world.
And who knows, it might even inspire you to take action.
Right.
To find ways to make a positive difference in your own corner of the world.
Totally.
But that's a conversation for another time.
You're right. We've got so much more to unpack, so stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive into Kick by Mitch Johnson. So we just finished talking about how Kick doesn't shy away from tough topics like global inequality.
Yeah.
But it also dives into this whole idea of finding pride in your work, even when that work is, making football boots in a factory owned by the dragon.
It is interesting how Budi finds this sense of satisfaction in doing his job well, even though, he knows the system is rigged against him.
Yeah.
I wonder if Johnson is hinting at something deeper here about human nature.
Oh, interesting.
Like the need to find meaning and purpose.
Right.
Even in difficult circumstances.
I was thinking the same things. Budi's refusing to let the dragon steal his sense of self-worth. He's taking pride in his craftsmanship, even if the world doesn't really see it that way.
Exactly. And it ties into this broader theme of resilience that runs through the entire book.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Budi is constantly being knocked down, but he just keeps getting back up. And he finds strength in these unexpected places. His grandma's stories, his friendship with Rochi, even just his love for football.
And that resilience is so inspiring, especially when you consider the impossible choices that Budi is forced to make. I mean, turning in your own uncle to protect your family, that's a heavy burden for anyone to carry, let alone a kid.
It's a testament to Budi's character, though, that he's willing to make those sacrifices.
Right.
It shows a level of maturity and understanding that's way beyond his years.
Right.
And it really highlights how Johnson isn't afraid to explore the moral gray areas of life.
Yeah.
There are no easy answers in Kick. There are no clear-cut heroes or villains.
That's so true. Even Rochi, who we initially see as a loyal friend, makes decisions that have some pretty questionable consequences.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if, in Budi's world, survival sometimes just trumps morality.
That's a really insightful observation. And it makes the story all the more compelling because it forces us to, grapple with those same questions.
Right.
What would we do in those situations? Where do we draw the line between loyalty and self-preservation?
Kick doesn't give us any easy answers, but it definitely makes you think.
It does.
And it does all this while still managing to be a really engaging read. I found myself completely swept up in Budi's story, even though I knew it wasn't going to be a happy ending.
Yeah. Johnson has this amazing ability to blend these harsh realities with moments of beauty and hope.
Right.
Like, even when Budi's world is falling apart, there's this underlying sense that something good might still be possible.
And that's what makes the ending so powerful. It's not a traditional happy ending, but it's an ending that feels like true to Budi's character and the world that he lives in. Without giving too much away, can you talk a little bit about how Johnson brings everything together in those final chapters?
Well, I think the way Johnson handles the ending is brilliant.
Yeah.
He doesn't tie everything up in a neat little bow.
Right.
Instead, he leaves us with this sense of ambiguity, a feeling that Budi's journey is far from over.
Yeah.
But there's also this glimmer of hope,
Right.
a suggestion that maybe, just maybe, things will eventually work out for him.
It's like that saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And Budi's journey is one that will stay with me for a long time.
Yeah, I think what makes this book so memorable is that it operates on multiple levels.
Right.
On the surface, it's this engaging story about a boy and his passion for football. But beneath that surface, there are these deeper layers of meaning about resilience and hope.
Right.
The complexities of friendship and the struggle for justice in an unequal world.
It's a story that has something to offer to everyone, regardless of their background or their interest in football. And it leaves you with a lot to think about long after you finish reading it.
Absolutely. You know, I found myself reflecting on my own life, my own choices,
Yeah.
the ways in which I'm connected to the larger world.
Right.
It's a book that encourages empathy and understanding, and it reminds us that even small actions can have a ripple effect.
Okay, so we've talked about the characters, the plot, the themes. What's one thing you think our listeners should really take away from this deep dive into Kick? What's a big aha moment that you want them to have?
Well, for me, it's the realization that hope is not a passive emotion. It's an active choice that we make every day,
Right.
even in the face of adversity. You know, Budi's story teaches us that hope is not about ignoring the harsh realities of the world, but about finding ways to resist those realities
Right.
and to create a better future.
That's such a powerful message, and it's one that we can all apply to our own lives no matter what challenges we're facing. But that's a conversation for our next and final part of this deep dive. So we were just talking about how hope is a choice, and I think that's like the perfect way to move into our final thoughts on Kick. You know, we have Budi, and he's facing some incredible hardship,
Yeah.
but he never gives up on that little flicker of hope.
It's interesting because Budi's hope isn't like this blind optimism.
Right.
You know, it's not about just pretending everything's fine.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the darkness that's there,
Yeah.
but still choosing to believe in the possibility of something better.
Yeah, it's like he's holding on to that hope as a way to stay connected to like his dreams, to his own humanity. And I think that's like a really powerful message for all of us,
It is.
especially in, times like these when it's really easy to feel overwhelmed by all the negativity.
Yeah, it is a reminder that we always have a choice.
Right.
You know, we can choose to succumb to despair, or we can choose to keep fighting for like what we believe in,
Yeah.
even when the odds are, totally stacked against us.
Yeah. And Budi's story shows us that hope can be found in the most unexpected places.
Right.
Yeah, it's in the stories his grandma tells him. It's in the loyalty of his friend Rochi.
Yeah.
It's even in that simple act of like making a football boot with care and precision.
Yeah, those small acts of resistance, those moments of connection, they're what fuel Budi's hope.
Right.
And ultimately, they help him survive. And I think they're what can help all of us,
Yeah.
to navigate all the challenges in our own lives.
Kick is such a powerful reminder that we're not alone in our struggles.
Right.
Budi's story is like a microcosm of what's happening all over the world. There are countless people facing injustice and poverty and exploitation.
Yeah.
But there are also countless acts of courage and resilience and hope happening every single day.
And those stories, they deserve to be told. Kick isn't just a book about football.
Right.
It's a book about humanity. It's about like the interconnectedness of our lives and the power of, individual choice to really make a difference.
I think one of the most important things Kick does is force us to confront like our own complicity in systems of inequality. It's so easy to turn a blind eye to the suffering of others, especially when it's, happening far away.
But Kick reminds us that our choices have consequences.
Right.
Every purchase we make, every product that we consume, it's all connected to a network of people and systems. And we really have a responsibility to be aware of those connections.
Right.
And to make choices that align with our values.
That's where the real power of this book lies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just a story that we passively consume.
Right.
It's like a call to action.
Uh-huh.
It's an invitation to examine, like, our own lives, our own choices.
Right.
And to ask ourselves how we can contribute to a more just and equitable world.
And it starts with small steps.
Yeah.
You know, it's about being more mindful of, like, where our clothes come from, supporting fair trade practices, speaking out against injustice,
Right.
choosing to connect with people, you know, from different backgrounds and experiences.
Budi's story shows us that even in, like, the darkest of times, even when we feel powerless, there's always something we can do. And those small acts of kindness, those moments of connection, you know, they can have a ripple effect that extends, like, far beyond ourselves.
So if you're looking for a book that will challenge you and inspire you and leave you feeling, you know, a little bit more hopeful about the world, I highly recommend checking out Kick by Mitch Johnson.
I couldn't agree more. It's a book that will stay with you long after you turn that last page.
Mm-hmm.
And it might even change the way you see the world.
It might.
Well, there you have it. Your deep dive into Kick by Mitch Johnson. Now, go grab a copy and see for yourself how Budi's story unfolds.